ready to jump right in. Okay. First of all, throughout this month, I spoke about what I called the what's that word now? Just give me a second. I spoke about it's a necessity that is disregarded. What did I call it? The English word just jumped out of my mouth, right? Anyway, basically, I spoke about something that is very important, yet the underrated necessity. Thank you for staying with me. All right. So throughout the month, we spoke about the underrated necessity. And what did we say was that underrated necessity? We said it was premarital coaching and counseling. Many people go into marriage and relationships without any form of guidance. They just believe that, my native intelligence should work for me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Or, they just believe that it will just work by chance. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. All right. You have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional. For it to work, you have to be intentional. All right. And you need to learn. That's one of the signs of the intentionality. You need to learn how to make it work. Okay. So we spoke about that. And then we also spoke about conversations. People need to have important conversations you need to have while you're in a relationship. Okay. Relationship is not the place to just be doing lovey-dovey and, all the kissing, necking, pettings, and having sex. And no. In relationships, you should talk. You should discuss. Especially because the relationship is supposed to determine whether or not you guys get married. So if all you do is indulge your emotions, you're actually going to confuse yourself. It's going to affect your sense of judgment. There are certain things that you should not be okay with, but you just find yourself tolerating and managing. Meanwhile, it should have been a sharp no. It should have been something that you're saying, no, I can't deal with this. I'm not going to take it. But because emotions are involved, those feelings, your hormones are already confusing you. You think you are in love. And that's why so many people say they are in love and they end up being so hurt, the relationship doesn't work, everything just falls apart, and they're wondering, could this be love? I mean, how do they say it? But love is a beautiful thing, trust me. If you learn how to, then you would enjoy yourself. But if you don't, then you're in for a tough time. Okay, but that said, so in this question and answers, there are a number of questions we already received, and I'm going to be treating them in no particular order. If you have yours, you can also drop them in the comment section and in the question section so that we can also treat it. Okay, that said, I jump straight into the questions. First of all, I saw something online in the course of the week and I just thought to bring it up. Okay, it's amazing the kind of conversations that really happen online. And, sometimes what is amazing is not the topic. What is most amazing are the comments you see. Okay, so what was the thing I saw that made me quite interested? Someone said that family planning is against the will of God. That family planning is not good. God does not want, in fact, you are sinning against God if you are doing family planning. Why? Because God said, go ye into all the world and multiply. The will of God is to multiply. So don't plan nothing, just multiply. All right. And it was really shocking to see that people thought like that, seriously. And some of them are Nigerians. I'm saying that because in some other countries where social welfare and stuff like that are actually okay, yes, maybe you can go ahead and just give birth as much as you want. But there are still realities you have to deal with. But those who are in Nigeria, especially in this present time, and you are saying you want to be giving birth up and down, you see that thing they call Saka is calling you, is knocking on your door. Your village people have held Congress for you. What am I saying in essence? Yes, it is natural to give birth. It is the will of God for mankind to, procreate. It's one of God's purposes for marriage. Okay, for mankind to procreate. By doing so, you are extending continuity, of the earth. You're extending your dominion. Do you understand? But listen, you can't be giving birth irresponsibly. With the birth of every child comes huge responsibilities. Emotional responsibilities, physical responsibilities, financial responsibilities. Do you understand? If you don't have the wherewithal to sustain that, let wisdom guide you. The Bible says that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. You see, so it's expensive in the current time, the current age, to take care of children, to raise children, to cater for children. And then you are there advising people to go ahead and be giving birth anyhow. How would you feed them? How would you clothe them? How would you send them to school? All right. Yes, if you have the wherewithal to give birth to 1,000 children, of course, there's no problem. Just make sure they are well catered for. All right. Because you see, in the eyes of God, it's not just about bringing children into the world. It's about bringing them up in the way that they should go. It's about mentoring and modeling a life that is positively impacting for them. It's about teaching them values and principles. It's about helping them to have purpose and to be responsible elements of society. So if you just go ahead and give birth for the sake of giving birth, and at the end of the day, you cannot take care of them, at the end of the day, you start looking for family members to export your children to, so that this one going to do house support here, this one going to do domestic stuff here. You know, that was house boy and house girl. I'm just calling it fine name. You're sending your children up and down to go and be doing house boy and house girl, and you'll be collecting small things, you know, and then in your mind, you know, if you have a lot of female daughters, when they start getting married, I will collect bride price. You know, that poverty has influenced a lot of thinking, and some people think it's spirituality. Okay, so please let wisdom guide you. The Bible says wisdom is profitable to direct. All right, don't go about having children that you cannot take care of. And the way to control that is by family planning. Family planning was given also by the wisdom of God. It is God that inspired people to do all the breakthroughs that you see in medicine, you know, in science, in healthcare. Do you understand? So if there are medical means to control birth, so that you don't bring in people into the world and subject them to penury and suffering because of your irresponsibility and lack of discipline to control yourself, all right, it is better you learn family planning. So family planning is not a sin. It is not evil. It is God who gave human beings the wisdom to know how to control certain things, so that you don't just bring people into the world and you cannot take care of them. Have you seen what it is that families go through, you know, in poverty? I saw a video of, was it last week or when was it, on Facebook or so, of a particular family living in so much abject poverty, and there were about 9 or 10 children. And you keep asking yourself, how did they get to 10? How? Look at some of them were sickly, kwashiorkor, and stuff like that. It's irresponsible. In fact, as a matter of fact, I wanted to say such parents should be dealt with. What kind of irresponsibility is that? Okay, so let wisdom guide you. Don't use religion and be foolish. Okay, let wisdom guide you. Don't give birth to more children than you can take care of. Because beyond the finances, they also need your emotional, you know, attention. They need your physical attention. All right. And there's a lot to factor in. Don't take in more than you can handle. If not, most times such homes become so abusive, become so, you know, so terrible. There's nothing the children are learning, because they have to practically grow themselves, take responsibility for themselves. At some point, they get to leave the house to fend for themselves. At some point, you know, the ladies, you know, because they're not properly guided and taught, they just get into the streets and they're doing all sorts. You see people who are teenagers and are already experiencing things that people in their 40s and 50s should be experiencing. You know, why? Because they were not properly raised in the way they should go. So please, if you join those people that believe that you should be giving birth to anyhow, so long as something can stand, it should. Let wisdom guide you. Let wisdom guide you. Let wisdom guide you. If not, you will just create a life of regret and suffering for yourself. Just think about it. Since you started working, if you're working or if you're in business, since you started working, for example, how many times has your salary increased? And if your salary has been increasing over the years, let me ask you, this year, in fact, in the past 1 week, has your salary increased? But in Nigeria, cost of things are about to go up by 4 times, you know, by the sudden change in fuel price. All right. So how will you cater for those children if you just keep giving birth irresponsibly? So please let me stop there. I just thought to mention it because I saw that it was quite a thing. I think it was even on Linda Ikeji, you know, and people were just there saying all manner of ignorant statements. If God says you should give birth, go ahead and be giving birth. Be wise, oh. Be wise. So let's take the next question. Okay, so the next question says, I'm in a relationship of 3 years. We no longer have a spark, and we seem to be drifting away from each other emotionally. Should I end the relationship, or how do we restore the spark? Let me take that question again. In a relationship of 3 years, we no longer have a spark, and it seems to be, and we seem to be drifting away from each other emotionally. Should I end the relationship, or how do we restore the spark? Very good question. If you have followed me closely, if you have listened to me at one time or the other, you may have heard me say again and again and again that the most important thing in a relationship is the purpose of that relationship. And I keep emphasizing that you don't get into a relationship unless you are clear on the purpose, and let the purpose be marriage. Okay? Please don't get into a relationship if you are not willing to get married to that person. The reason is that marriage is what will help you put certain things in perspective. Marriage is what will help you guide your conversation. Marriage is what will help you guide your actions in most cases, if you have sense. Do you understand? So let marriage be the purpose. And then if marriage is the purpose, all right, it now helps you guys to even now begin to moderate and decide, how you're going to carry out that relationship. So in this case, there are certain questions I will ask, because some of those questions are quite general questions and you don't have the specifics. However, let me ask a few questions. So when you say you guys don't feel the spark anymore and you're drifting away, all right, the first question I asked was, what's the purpose of that relationship? Is it marriage? Or is it to just have fun and be happy and make each other happy and spend money on each other? Is it somebody who can carry all your burden, your financial burden, who will be responsible for your life? Is it somebody who will cook for you and just, have sex with you when you want? I mean, what exactly is the purpose of that relationship, right? You guys need to determine that. On what grounds did that relationship begin in the first place? All right, because there are many people who started from situationships, and at the end of the day, they found themselves inside the relationship. And then now they're wondering, you have used me now, I'm pregnant now, and now I have your child. Somehow they just found themselves entangled, and they don't even have love for each other anymore. There's no attraction anymore, because the thing that was driving them then was different from the realities now. So on what grounds did you guys even get into that relationship? Very pertinent questions you want to ask. Also, can you remember or identify the activities, the experiences, the vibe, or the things that happened then when you claimed that there was a spark? What were the things you call that spark? Or was it just attraction that was worrying you? You saw shape and you lost your mind. And you lost control. You saw a man that had money, drove a fine car, even if he borrowed it, and you said, this must be him. Take me to where I don't know. So what happened? Do you understand? What were those activities? What were the things that caused the spark? Was it just youthfulness? Was it that there was lack of direction? Were you even drunk? Were you high and you just thought, I want to have fun with this? What were the things that created that spark, that thing you call spark in the first instance? All right, now I'm saying all of this is because what many people avoid, in relationships or in situations where they feel stuck, they avoid engaging themselves in constructive and productive self-appraisals. They just want the problem to be solved somehow, but they don't think. They just want you to solve the problem for them. So, and that's why many times when you meet a coach or a counselor, many times what we'll do is we probe, we start asking questions, and by the time we'll go deep into the questioning, asking the right questions, guided and targeted questions, before you know it, you're finding where you are by yourself, and you're already telling yourself what you need to do. Okay, so these are questions you need to ask. What were those activities? What created those activities? All right, so what has changed since then? What changed? Why is there no more spark? What happened? Was there a quarrel? Did one person cheat on the other? Was there a fallout? Was there something that impacted on you guys emotionally? Did one person have an experience that hit them so bad that they're yet to come back to themselves? Do you understand what exactly changed? You need to identify all of these things. It's not just to sit and say, there's no spark again. I don't see butterfly inside my stomach anymore. No. I mean, life happens. A lot of things you need to consider. Okay? And then, so you need to identify what changed. Because sometimes just growth, one person growing, can get to a point where the relationship is no longer beneficial to them and are just looking for the way out, just waiting for something to spoil by itself. You understand? So maybe there's been growth. Maybe there's been a change in perspectives, change in value. Something has just changed and we're not on the same level anymore. We can't sustain this thing we're doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yes, there are so many reasons why that spark could be lost. So if you ask yourself all of these questions, I'm sure you will find what went wrong. If the purpose of that relationship was marriage, then you'll be able to reinvent all of those things so that the spark can be returned. But let me state clearly that marriage is not run by spark in your belly. Marriage is not run by butterflies in your belly. Marriage is not successful by the chemistry we feel, because there are many times you need to take decisions for the betterment, for the purpose of that marriage or of that union that your feelings may not support. For example, there are times you will have to forgive your spouse when they hurt you. Your feelings don't feel like forgiving them, but what is important to do at that point in time is to forgive them for the purpose of that relationship, because you guys want to stay together as one. Because you guys have a goal you're working towards together. Because you guys have a vision together as a family. So your feelings will be hurt, but you will tell yourself that for the goal, that for the purpose that we have in this relationship, we have to stay together. All right. So for that person looking for the spark, don't forget, the marriage does not work by spark. All right. There's a lot of deliberate, you need knowledge. There's a lot of intentionality. Okay, you need tolerance, you need forgiveness, you need communication, you need to learn how to handle conflicts, you need to know how to manage it. There's a lot of skill you need to learn to have a beautiful marriage, whether or not you feel that spark or that attraction to that person. I hope that point is clear enough, okay, so that I can take the next question. If you have any questions, please don't forget, you can put them in the comments, put them in the questions section if you're on Instagram. All right, so let me take the next question. I think I'm a bit fast today. That should be good. Am I fast? What time is it? Okay. The second question says, or the third question rather says, I've been in several sexually active relationships, and from your teachings, I find this may be the reason for how shallow my relationships have been. How do I move forward in my next relationship without sexual intimacy? This is a very good question. In fact, it's a great question, and it's very real because it's what happens. I did an informal research one time and discovered that on the average, when people say we are dating, what they're saying is that we're sleeping with each other. On the average, when people say, I dated him for 2 weeks. Oh, we dated last year. Oh, what they are saying is that we got into a sexually active relationship. So dating now becomes the word for sex. Really? I mean, I'm speaking generally. Okay, not everyone gets sexually involved in their relationship, but then more often than not, a lot of young people are sexually active in their relationship. For so many people, dating is the excuse to sleep with someone. After all, we are in a relationship. I was speaking with someone one time, and the person was talking about, and when we're dating, and I said, please, just for clarity, were you guys sexually involved in this relationship? And the person told me, what kind of question is that? I'm telling you that we're dating. You're asking me if we're having sex. Of course we're having sex now. I'm like, oh, well, really? So dating now equals sex? All right. But it's not supposed to be. All right. Like I emphasize again and again, you can have healthy relationships and you keep sex away until marriage. You can. It's possible. It's very possible. You can have healthy friendships, okay, without sexual involvement. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pressure, in this age and in this time that we're in, especially from the media, especially from your friends and contemporaries. People now yab their friends. This one say be virgin. This one say, you never sleep with man. This one say you never sleep with babe before. You don't know what's up. And they just try to ridicule you. Please, please, please listen to me. You can have sexually pure relationships. Now, I'm saying that because to answer this question, I'm glad that this person says, this may be the reason for how shallow some of your relationships have been. And that is the truth. There are people who meet today and by this evening, they're sleeping with each other. They meet tomorrow and they're sleeping with each other. They met at the club and they're sleeping with each other that night. They met somewhere, exchange numbers. By weekend, somebody is coming over. Why is it just so easy? What happens is when you get in so quick like that, you also quickly get out. All right? Sorry, something is distracting me here. When you get in so quickly, you also easily get out. Why? Because it's just your emotions that are driving you. Every human that is normal, that is well, that is healthy, has sexual drives, especially when you're an adult or from adolescence, you start growing. Do you understand? It's natural, okay? But what you need to learn is that it is for a purpose and it can be controlled. Yes, it can be controlled. You need to know that, okay? So when you just start getting, when you meet people and then already you guys are sexually involved, you are robbing yourselves of the opportunity to really get to learn each other, to really get to be friends, to really get to be close to each other without any sexual ties. Okay? And that is how you know true friendship. Because when you get sexually involved, your hormones begin to give you a false sense of bonding. You feel like, oh, this is my guy. Because, it's a soulish thing. And, you guys feel, you guys are, what was that term you call? Soulmates. Okay, it's a soulish thing. There's a lot that happens beyond just the physical intimacy. You guys are connecting yourselves together soulishly. All right. So you feel like, oh, I just like this guy. Oh, I just love this girl. Oh, we just connect. It's a lie. Oh, it's your hormones that are connecting. It's not you. Because at the end of the day, one small quarrel will erupt now, and then both of them will scatter the whole place. And you'll be wondering, but I thought you were soulmates. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, let me even just answer. So how do you move forward in your next relationship without sexual intimacy? All right. So first things first is for you to even understand why you don't need to be sexually active, going forward until you are married. Okay, you need to understand the why. You need to understand the why. And I'll give you some reasons here, because it's not just saying, no, I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. It's just like New Year resolutions. Many people can say, oh, this year I will not lie again. I will not steal again. I will not go to work late again. By day 3, everything has fallen apart. All right? Sometimes the same day, if you have failed multiple times, you lose count and just say to yourself, I'm not doing it again, I beg. Do you understand? So, you need to understand the why. And one of the reasons for the why is that you honor God when you choose to stay sexually pure. You honor God. You're not doing it for yourself, because his purpose is that thing that you are doing now is meant to be done in marriage. There is a why for it. There's a whole lot of emotional maturity that is required, for you to start opening up yourself at that level to somebody else. But many times people start doing this from teenage, people start doing this when they are not yet ready for the responsibility, and that's why they make all manner of stupid decisions. Okay, so when you when you abstain till marriage, you are honoring God, because that is his will concerning sex. He wants you to abstain. He wants you to stay till marriage. So there's a why to it. Also, you save yourself all of the emotional drama and wreckage that could happen to you, by being sexually involved with people. Why do many relationships, break up? Why there's so many complications in relationships? It's because people are busy, having sex with themselves. Yes. That's why. Okay? And then another reason why you should stay away is that it can negatively impact your life in several ways. It can completely change the course of your life forever. If you're a young girl, for example, maybe a teenager, and you're just there, or your early 20s, you have plans for your life, and then before you know it, you're there sleeping with people anyhow, and then you get pregnant, and then you tell yourself, I cannot take responsibility. Oh, my father will kill me. Oh, my mother will disown me. Oh, no, I cannot. I'm a leader in my church. Oh, I cannot take this. And then you go do abortion, and then it gets complicated, and then you're hospitalized, and then it becomes news that, this person, see what happened to how it was the abortion she went to do, and every now, and then the stigma, and a lot of things just start getting bad. Do you understand? It's just changing your life unnecessarily. Okay, maybe you don't go about doing the abortion. Maybe you keep the pregnancy. And maybe because of that, you had to stay away from school. It affected your work. It affected your performance. It affected this and that. There are so many ways that this thing affects your life when you do it at the wrong time. It's a beautiful experience, a beautiful thing when it's happening at the right time, with the right person, under the right circumstances. But when you do it at the wrong time, it can completely alter the course of your life. And who would you have to blame? You're blaming the young man, or you're blaming the girl that she set you up, or you're blaming... No. It's your decision. It was entirely your decision. All right? So, remind yourself of the why. And I gave you 3 reasons right now. One is that you honor God when you stay chaste. The other one is that you save yourself a lot of emotional drama. And then the third one is that you save yourself, from negative outcomes from just wanton sex. All right. And then when you have done this, right? When you found the why, you found conviction, you found the reason, not just because it will be good to and let me not do it. No. When you found the reason, all right, then you need to take time to reflect on yourself and you need to self-develop. Why am I saying this? Many times, people give in too easily because of their self-concept, because of their low self-esteem. So what happens is that they're seeking validation, they're seeking relevance, they're seeking who will make them feel important. And this guy or this girl tends to make them feel like, you're important to me, I love you very much, you're special. When you know you're not really that special. Okay, in quote. It's not like you're not special, but I'm saying that they are just telling you that to get you happy and to get you to bed. All right. And then it makes you feel good. Finally, somebody acknowledges you. Somebody makes you feel important, and then you just give in. So you need to even look at your own self-concept. All right. You need to find yourself in God. You need to find yourself. You're a child of God. God created you. Okay, I'm saying you're a child of God if you're a Christian. If you're not a Christian, then please try and know God, right? But you need to find yourself. Okay, you need to improve your self-concept. You need to improve your self-esteem so that not anybody just telling you, oh, you're so beautiful, and you start falling head over heels. You need to improve your self-concept. You need to do better for yourself. You need to take time out. Do you understand? Not time when you're running around. People get out of one relationship today and they're entering another one tomorrow. I was checking out someone's life in 9 years. The person had been into about 11 relationships. In some years, you do 2 in that very... I'm like, what is going on? Are you in a contest? How do you even do that? This one ends today, you get into another one tomorrow. While you're in that one, you see another person, you end this one, you jump to that one. While you're in that one, you see, what kind of life is that? It's what a purposeless life. At the end of the day, these are the people who come out spitting all kinds of useless concepts about love and relationship. And some of you go about believing those things. Meanwhile, these guys on the normal day should be quiet and should be sitting down taking classes. In fact, some should be locked up. They should be disciplined for the kind of careless and irresponsible behaviors they have exhibited. All right, just saying, right? Now, so the point is you need to take time to self-reflect. You need to develop yourself. You need to grow. You need to build capacity. You need to learn, all right, so that you're not easily deceived by the next person who comes smiling at you and telling you nice words and sweet nonsenses. All right. So when you have done that, you also need to consult with a therapist. Come talk to a counselor. Let's talk to you. Let's help you. Do you understand? Because the truth is, in all of those former relationships, there are a lot of baggage that you have picked up that you don't need. There's a lot that you have picked up that you need to be healed from. You need to be helped to get out of. You may not even know it, but subconsciously there are things you have picked up. There are things that have impacted on your self-esteem, your self-concept, your morale. There are certain things that have impacted on you, your concept of love, your concept of marriage. Certain things have impacted on you, and you need to get help so that you can think right. There can be a beliefs change. You can have the right expectation from relationship and from marriage. So yes, you need to speak with a counselor. You need to see a therapist. This is very, very important. Okay. And then I've spoken about your identity, your sense of purpose, all right? You see, one thing is that one of the greatest motivations, oh yes, you need to heal. That's exactly what I was saying. You need to heal, all right? Because there's been a lot of baggage, and things you need to get healed of. Yeah, so you need to heal before you deal again. Thank you, Susie, for that. So I'm saying something that one of the greatest motivators for a life, or that can transform a man's life is vision, is purpose. Many people lack purpose. And that's why scripture says that where there is no vision, the people cast off restraints. Like they don't live for anything. They don't even know why they should do certain things or why they shouldn't do certain things. They cast off restraints. The people perish. They just live anyhow. They don't live by regulation because they don't even know that, there can be a future for us. There's hope for us. We can make it. We can get out of this. All right. People are just lackadaisical. They're just nonchalant. Why? Because they lack vision. Someone told the story of the son of a great guy who came home, dressing and behaving so irresponsibly. And all that his father did was he called him and said, do you know what? When they are talking about the kind of people who can be the president of this nation in your generation, your name will not come up because those people will not be behaving like this. The boy heard that and thought about it seriously. What? and I want to be important and relevant in my time. And that was all he needed to change. All right. So I'm talking about a sense of vision, a sense of purpose. You need to find that. You need to find that. It will guide you. Purpose will guide you. It will let you know what kind of people cannot be your friends. It will let you know what kind of people cannot be entertained in your space. Some of you are just open to all and sundry. You are open. There was a time Anambra State was termed the home for all. And then one of these governors came and said, no, you cannot be home for all. Criminals and all sorts of people are coming here. It's not home for all. Please, we are now light of the nation. Please, we are good people. It's not home for all. We don't want some people. Okay? So I'm saying that because with self-identity, with purpose, you can identify the kind of people that you don't need in your space. The kind of people that are detrimental to your growth, to your purpose. You will identify those people and you'll be able to escape from them. Do you understand? So there's a lot you need to do. Beyond just telling yourself, I'm not going to do this anymore, all right? You need to go through all of these things I've been saying. I said you need to understand your why. You need to take time to self-reflect and grow and build your self-concept and your self-esteem. I said you need to consult with a therapist, a counselor, so that they can help you heal from all of the past experiences. I said you need to understand your identity and your sense of purpose and vision, okay? And then finally, before the last point, don't get into the next relationship just yet until you are convinced that now you are ready to get married. And you are convinced you are ready to get married to that person. It's one thing to be ready to get married. It's another thing to be willing to get married to that person. All right? Don't just get into a relationship. Let marriage be the reason you would consider anyone for a relationship. All right? And then finally, choose to honor God. All right, choose to honor God. When you get into that new relationship, choose to honor God and stay celibate till it's time for marriage. I think I've spent quite some time on this question. For those of you who missed the question, who came in the middle of the answers, let me just take the question again and then so that you can understand the context of what we were talking about. The question was that this person has been in several sexually active relationships and then believes that that's part of the reasons why the relationships have been shallow. And now he's saying, how do I move forward in my next relationship without sexual intimacy? So that's what I've been explaining, all that I've been explaining. All right, let me quickly take the next question. All right, please, if you have questions, drop them. I'm not seeing your questions. What's going on? Are you dropping them and I'm not seeing it or what? What's happening? All right, so if you have questions, please drop it in the comments. All right, feel free to even comment. I saw a comment from someone. Yeah, Susie is keeping it real. Yeah, thank you, Susie, for your comments. I appreciate those. All right, you see one thing about relationship. Many times people just come in and they're keeping quiet. What you are talking about is affecting them. When they're just keeping quiet, doing like, let them not catch me. Don't worry, it's not you. It's your friend. Do you understand? It's not you. Nobody knows you. Just ask the question. In fact, it's not you. Somebody else. So that everybody will learn. Do you understand? All right, so let me take the next question. Someone says, he's 34 this year. He says he wants to marry me, but he lives with his parents. And they don't seem to like me because of my tribe. I've told him to get a place of his own, but his parents won't let him because of the assistance he renders at home. How should I handle this? This is quite some serious thing here. Okay, first, he said he wants to marry you and he's still living in his parents' house. That's quite some serious thing. At 34, a man is living in his parents' house. That is quite a concern. That is quite a concern, a very serious concern. Okay, and then his parents don't like you. See, wahala. Why are you still pushing this matter? Really, why are you still pushing this matter? It's serious. Okay, it's not do or die. All right, you want to stay in a place where you are loved, where you are celebrated, where they are happy to have you, where they see you and there's joy. Everybody's like, oh, come on. You want to stay where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. You see, somebody has prescribed here that you should run. They say, Jackpao. Do you understand? Why are you still there? First of all, the man is not even showing signs of readiness. If at 34, you're still stuck in your father's house as a man, I want to say that you are not ready for marriage. For whatever reason, you're not ready. Okay, let me not be too hard on you, right? Because this person says because of the assistance. I don't know the nature of this assistance that you're rendering. I don't know the nature of it, all right? But it's different if they're having to live with you in your own house, right? Because you are taking care of them. It's different. Do you understand somehow? Than that you are living in your parents' house and somewhat feeding off of your parents or living off of them. That means you don't even know what it is to parent. You don't know what it is to pay bills, to pay light bills, all right, to stock the fridge and freezer. You don't know what it is to buy fuel for the generator. You don't know what it is to run the house. You don't know, come on. You're not ready now. You're a child. You're still, you're not ready for responsibility. All right. Now, I'm saying that generally because we don't have the details, right? Now, I said also that depending on what this assistance is, listen, you can arrange for alternative care for your parents. You can. There are organizations that render these services. In fact, locally, there are family members that you can go and bring from your village or from somewhere that you can come and live with you guys, and render that same assistance to your parents. But there is a time in a man's life where some level of attachments need to be broken, because the way God has designed life, at that stage of your life, you need to be creating your own family. You need to be creating your own family, not struggling to detach from the one that brought you into the world. All right? Someone says it's wiser to marry into a family that accepts you. Exactly. They need to love you. They need to accept. I'm even coming to that point. I'm going to treat that as a second point. For now, let me just deal with the fact that a 34-year-old man is still living in his parents' house. Okay? Yeah. Ikebeka says, even scripture says that a man will leave his father and mother. Exactly. So there are certain attachments that you need to be detached from as a man. That shows readiness. Living in your father's house at 34 is a no-no. Even if you have not gotten a job or business, let that push yourself to the point that you can afford a single room somewhere. And every time you wake up, and you look at the ceiling like this, you tell yourself, if I don't go out today, hunger will finish me in this place. Because of that, go outside and solve a problem and create a solution and earn yourself money and sell something and do something so that you can earn for yourself. That is responsibility. And until you can do that, don't introduce another woman into your life. What business do you have having a girlfriend when you can't take care of yourself? Or when you can't take decisions for yourself? I hope somebody understands my line of thought. All right? So, point is, that man, find a way to get help for your parents, then you move. Be visiting them as regularly as you can. Get a place close to their house so that you can easily check on them. But find a way to provide that help, all right, so that you too can start your own life. If not, you're going to remain stuck there for a long time. And let me speak to those parents, because some of you are going to become parents very soon or are already parents, okay, who are so manipulative of their children that they don't want to let them go. Some mothers don't want to let go of their sons. Some men don't want to let go of their daughters. Some parents joined together don't want to let go of their children. It is irresponsible and it is wrong. You have done your time with them. You have raised them up to be adults. Please release them and let them go and start their own lives. All right? That is a word that I needed to say. All right? Now, to the other part of itself, that the parents don't like you because of your tribe. I keep saying this. When you're in a relationship with someone and the person's family does not like you, it's not first your work to make them like you. Let the man fight that battle. Let him fight and conquer that issue at home. Let him give them reasons why you are the one he wants to marry. Let him give them reasons why you are such a fantastic person, why you're the best thing in the world, to him, why if he doesn't get married to you, his life will not be complete. Let him give them, it is his fight, it's not your fight. And if all this while he is not yet able to convince them or to influence them or to get external people to influence them, because in some cases you have to get your pastor involved, you have to get your father's elder brother, you have to involve the village, you have to involve anybody that they can listen to join and give them wisdom so that they will now agree. Do you understand? In some cases you need to do all of that, right? But if you are not even putting in all that effort, you're not making all that fight, what do you want the poor girl to go and be doing? Is she the one that will go and be trying to please your mother or to please your father when they fundamentally have a dislike for her because of something that was not within her control, her tribe? Did she choose the tribe she wanted to come out into this world, in? Did she choose where she was going to be born? Unfortunately, a lot of people, in fact, the past elections in Nigeria revealed a lot of bigotry, was it bigotry they call it, and a lot of hatred, and, tribal wars and stuff like that. And it was just completely unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. I think that's just the manipulation of the political class, but that's conversation for another day. All right. So, the man in question needs to fight this fight. First of all, be a man first by packing out of your father's house. Then convince them on behalf of the girl why they should accept her. All right. But if he cannot do this, then please, you don't have to be there. Please go away. God will give you, and there are many others out there that will love you, and you will be loved too, and you will be wanted. Do you understand? So you, the lady, you don't have to be there. All right. Someone says it's not worth the fight if the man can't deal with his family to prepare the ground for. In fact, that's the truth. If he can't deal with them to prepare the ground for both of you, then it's not worth it. You take a walk, please. And this is another thing I keep saying to people. Some people do relationships from a very disempowered position. I'm just helpless, so I'm just lucky that the boy decided to date me. If he did not date me now, maybe nobody would have dated me. Now that somebody has managed to even ask me, I must agree, let me agree, anything, I will do anything for you, anywhere you want to tell. No, come on. Don't get into a relationship like that. Whether you're the guy or the girl, don't get in from a disempowered point of view. For goodness sake, you're bringing something to the table. You're bringing value into that person's life. Okay? If they cannot display that they love you, they cherish you, they want you so deeply, and they don't respect you, you don't have to be there. If they say they want you and they cannot prove to their parents or, show workings that I am going all out to make sure you are accepted in my home. If they cannot show workings like that, please, you don't have to be there. You don't have to. Don't think they are doing you a favor. Nobody is doing you a favor by being in a relationship with you, because you're bringing something to the table too. Unless you're just a complete, I'm not call you useless person. Unless you just consider yourself an item in the house. You're like a decoration, like a wall painting. But even at that, at least you're providing beauty in the house. So you're bringing something. That's just what I'm saying. Don't think so low of yourself that because somebody's asking you out, now you're helpless towards that person. No. You should have a say, and you should have some values, and you should have standards for yourself. All right? If they don't want to love you, please leave them alone and go somewhere else. Somebody else is going to love you. Somebody else is going to just love you the way you are. Somebody is going to love your tribe and just say, I've been praying all my life for you, and I finally found you. Don't you believe it? You can have it. All right? So, please, I think I've addressed that question. If the person is here, you've heard all we said. If you're not here, the lady who asked the question is here. Please let him watch this, and I can talk with you guys later. Okay, let me take the next question very quickly. This one says, he shouts at me when I offend him, and when I tell him he should speak to me kindly, he further raises his voice and calls me names. And when his anger subsides, he comes to me as though we were just cool and fine. How do I get him to understand how to communicate with me properly? Did you guys get the question? Let me ask it again. Okay, he shouts at me when I offend him, and when I tell him he should speak to me kindly, he further raises his voice and calls me names. And when his anger subsides, he comes to me as though we were just cool and we were fine. How do I get him to understand how to communicate with me properly? Okay, very good question. This is very real. When I mean this is very real, I mean there are several people in this kind of situations, right? What I want to say is this is classical and fundamental case of emotional abuse 101. It's abuse 101 course. All right. Why am I saying that? Because everything he's doing, everything you have said are pointing to an abusive partner. This is how they start. First of all, how do you love someone and you're shouting at them? You're raising your voice at them. How do you do that? Now, I'm not saying that there could not have been a point where under certain emotions, under certain, maybe as humans, frustration from work, this, that, everything was just somehow, and then you raise your voice at her one day, or, at him one day, and then you apologize. I'm sorry, I should not have done that. Now, I'm just keeping it real because sometimes some things can just happen one kind. But then, listen and listen good. When you love someone, you respect them, you value them. You don't speak to them in a way can hurt them. Even when you're rebuking them, you rebuke them with love. because you're sensitive to how they feel. Your goal is not to make them feel bad. Your goal is to make them to make them better and to understand what you are saying. So, how come you say you love someone or somebody loves you and they are raising their voice at you and calling you names? This is pure abuse. Because do you know what's happening? That person is trying to destroy your morale. They're trying to destroy your self-concept, trying to make you feel less of yourself so that you are disempowered. You feel helpless and you can't do anything when he speaks to you. So he will shout at you. He will raise his voice at you. He will make you feel worthless. He will make you feel helpless. He will call you names. All right? All of these just to destroy your self-concept. And at the end of the day, you even try to tell him, please do better, and he disregards that. That means he does not respect you. You are of no value to him. He doesn't hold you in high esteem. And then when his anger has calmed down, he comes to you just as though nothing happened. Again, that is manipulation. Because he's not willing to accept his wrongs. He doesn't even believe he did anything wrong. If anything at all, he's going to turn it against you. He's going to gaslight you, and you're going to feel like you were the one who did all the terrible things. You are the one who is wrong. You know, pure abusive situation. Pure abusive situation. All right? So please, what I'm going to say to you is that you are not the one to help him learn how to communicate. Communication is not his problem. His problem is deeper than communication. All right? I'm taking it that these people are still in a relationship. My first answer for you is run away, because this is unhealthy. Yes, it's unhealthy. I'm sure you belong to World Changers Club. People that believe I can change somebody, I can change him. You cannot. That's not your work. All right? So my first advice is take a break. Leave this person alone. If it's just a relationship, you're not married yet, leave him alone. Recommend counseling for him. Let him see a therapist. All right? Let him go for help. He needs help. Because all that I'm seeing here is an abuser, a manipulator, and most likely a narcissist. All right? So he's just going to make sure you are always under his control. You are always at his mercy. You are in a place where he wants you to be per time. And that way you can never resist him. You can never stand up to him. What he says is law and is final. And you just find yourself living like a slave where you're supposed to be loved. That is entirely out. It is wrong. It's unacceptable. Okay, so my recommendation for you is please stay away. While you are away, recommend him for help, for therapy, for counseling. All right? He has a lot to learn. He's probably been from an abusive background. He has a wrong concept of marriage. He has a wrong idea of love. He has a wrong idea of what it means to have somebody special in your life. He has a wrong idea of family. So many things are wrong with him. He has probably been abused severally in his own life. Do you understand? So he needs help. He needs to go for counseling. He needs to go for therapy. He needs to see a professional. While he's doing that, don't be the one that is there. Be away and be encouraging him from afar. If not, you will think that he has changed. You will think that he is better. And you will tell yourself, it's okay, it's okay. By the time you guys get married, whatever you were seeing before is going to be multiplied. By then, you will not even have the strength to complain, because you'll still be trying to show a picture perfect marriage. Everything is fine with us. Okay, meanwhile, he was beating you. Why is your eye swollen? You will say, oh, I hit my head when they took light on the wall. Meanwhile, somebody pushed you. Do you understand? It becomes harder to get out of these situations when you are already married. So please, what you have described is classical abuse 101. All right, it is emotional abuse. It is traumatizing. It will lead to physical abuse. Okay, because you're already shouting at you and calling you names before you know he's going to be hitting you. All right, so please go away. That's what I'm saying. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. All right, and let him get help. All right, if he's willing to get help. If he's not willing to get help, you are not the one that will change him. God is not sending you into his life to change him. Stop psyching yourself and stop saying that nonsense. You see, I believe there's a reason why God brought me into his life. Maybe I am the one that will change. I hear ladies say this thing. I'm just looking at them like this. Say, yeah, sorry, something is coming in front. That thing that's coming is very strong. When it hits you, you know something has hit you. What do you mean that maybe that's why God sent you? Are you Holy Spirit? My friend, have a life. All right? Leave that person alone. Be encouraging them from afar. Send them text message. Send them scripture message. Send them YouTube link to go and watch. Send them things that will help them. But please be afar.